Welcome back to G Brands. I'm Andy Rowe, and as usual, I'm joined by 5-time Super Rugby champion and member of the New Zealand Order of Merit. It's King's birthday weekend. Former All Black Justin Marshall, Crusaders legend James O'Connor's here as well. And later on the show, we'll be joined by former Wallaby Jeremy Poole, who's currently on a 1-week stand down for getting too sloppy during the Ali Williams episode last week. Lads.
That's a fair enough stand down too, by the way. Big time.
I'm excited to chat to him because he's a big, friendly, physical teddy bear after a few beers, isn't he?
Yeah, but beer is appropriate actually because the beer was let out of the zoo. And, oh my God, he found some fun. He found some targets when he was out. That's for sure. He's got 1,000 kids under 5.
Yeah.
So getting the opportunity to actually get out of the country after the latest newborn for the first time.
He was wet in the baby's head.
Apparently he slept at the airport in a sleeping bag.
Did he?
He was that excited about getting on his flight.
What, to come over or to go back?
to both. I wouldn't have risked going to bed at the time of the morning that he went to bed to catch his flight back to Australia.
Oh my God.
But yeah, anyway.
Oh, yeah, he was so good about. Like,
he was on fire.
You know, one of those big boys that when they've had a few beers, he picked me up and was carrying me around the bar at one point like a baby. I couldn't do anything. I got stuck. Oh, he's great. I left him with Marshy.
Well, it's good. He's a lover.
Oh,
You
amazing.
can go the other way quickly.
Yeah, well, he obviously felt for you because you left 2 3/4 pints of Guinness sat at a bar and
2
you had no
3/4.
excuse for it. Who takes a quarter of a sip and is double parked and leaves both of them there?
That's rude.
It is, isn't it?
I apologise. I've got no excuse for it.
No, well, then you got punished by JP carrying you around a bar, which was just the least of punishment that you could have actually done for doing that.
It was so humiliating.
You drank from a straw for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
In your little sippy cup.
You, let's change the subject. You,
Why?
Marshy,
I'm enjoying picking on you.
mate, what else you would enjoy is the rules that have been confirmed by World Rugby for the Lions tour. They're going to do the 20-minute red card. You're an influencer.
I am, absolutely. And I'm still obviously influencing because they're called the laws.
Oh.
And I've had this with you before, haven't I? I got given this in TV when I first moved into it because I was saying, the rule is, and the rule is this. And I got told quite
Clearly.
comprehensively that rugby has laws.
Yeah.
There's
It's
a law
so
book.
punishing how people get upset about this.
I know, but I don't know why.
The
but
laws of the game.
It's the laws of the game. Yeah, and rugby has a law book, which has got 300 pages in it. But
yeah, no one's getting
There's
a
a
which
lot
is
of
200
laws.
too many. There's a lot of laws, but yeah, absolutely. Look, I know I got pretty fired up about that red card, and it'll be interesting to get your thoughts on this, Jock, because again, detrimental to the game. The fact that you can take a player out of the game now that we have all the technology that we do, the timing, the impacts, and everything is just being more heightened by the technology and being able to pick things up, and players know that and are aware of it. And for massive series like the Lions coming up, but any big series, let's think about the All Blacks next year going to South Africa the first time since 1996. Huge. And the ramifications of having a player who has made an accidental collision head on head with no intention to do that. Who wants to go into a tackle and collide your head with another player's head? Whether you're the ball carrier or the tackler. You don't want to do that, do you?
100%.
And it's just sometimes a step, falling, timing. So the fact that it can be now recognised and punished, but yet not ruin the game for 70, 60 minutes. Yeah. I think, hey, we banged the drum. We went out there. I got fired up. Might have swore a little bit. But seems like World Rugby's agreed and they've brought the 20-minute red card in for the Lions series. Thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great option. Like, I've been involved in series, and even that 2019 World Cup when sort of all the head-high sort of rules came in.
When they went crazy on the cards.
It's first 3-4 games. Genuinely, you get a red card early, that's the game done.
Yeah.
Like there's been teams who have won without it. But I even remember in 2011, I think it was Wales versus France in one of those pool games where they got done pretty early, and then
Warburton, he got red carded in the semi-final.
Yeah.
And they would have won
Sonny
that.
last Lions
Sonny
series,
in the Lions series.
Yeah. He just shot a bunch of guy in the face. To be fair.
But it does it ruins the whole game. I think a fair punishment is that 20 minutes, and then you got the technology now to see if it is a yellow.
Absolutely.
bring the guy back on.
And I think the other thing is, like, as a current player, you'll be aware of this. You know the consequences, don't you?
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know the consequences, and if it's accidental, you're hoping that they will see that, or the collision was not intentional.
Yeah.
And if it is, like Sonny Bill, look, I get it, and people out there will, say, well, that's not fair, that was illegal, it had purpose in it, but still the game's only affected for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Which
he
is
can't,
enough.
can't impact the game again.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it. Like if it's deemed to stay red, and obviously, he can't come back on. Yes, the game can restore to be 15 on 15. So there is still consequences for that act of foul play. It just doesn't ruin the entire game for everyone. And then obviously that player's got to go face the judicial, and he could take no further part in the series. So, God, it just reeks of common sense, don't they?
Well, especially when the stakes are so high with the Lions like series, 3 games. Imagine if you get a red card in the first 10 minutes then someone's off for the whole game. Like the margins are so small in international footy, let alone Super. It does. Like I can imagine, like me playing, it sucks.
Yeah.
But also like the fans don't want to see that 14 on 15. Like if the guy's done it, not on purpose, but if it is reckless, he's gonna get the punishment. And he won't be able to come back on. And 20 minutes is enough time for a team to execute and make some good inroads.
When you have that, because I know we used to have the chats, and I'd be interested in. Obviously, things have changed a lot since I finished playing. You've got more awareness and again more algorithms and technology. Do you actually, during any week or at the start of the season, or have moments where you talk about that red card situation? If it was to be, okay, say we lose a guy in the first 5 minutes, we've got to play 75 minutes, with 14 men, without that player. Do you have scenarios for that? Because obviously you go out there with 15 men having a game plan to go, right, we're going to do this, razzle dazzle, blah, blah, blah. Yeah?
Changes all the set piece sort of plays.
And so do you just say, righto, boys, it's, the Formula One where they have those strategies. Oh, you don't watch much Formula One, but I do.
Yeah, I don't either,
and they go, like they say to Verstappen, plan B.
Yeah.
Like, do you just all of a sudden, or do you just go, fuck it, we've got 14, we're just going to try and win it with what we went in there intending to do?
No, we'll change the shape completely. Like, depending on who goes off, it's a back rower, like, a 9 or a winger, or it's a lock.
Yeah.
Usually you'll shorten the line up to sort of 4 or 5 mans, and you'll sort of favour the blind side a little bit more because they still have to mark the open, and then sort of it's a bit less swinging. Go to a few more contestables, but you try to stay in sort of one part of the field and then really bring them in and drag them.
When you're down to 14.
When you're down to 14.
So why would you favour the blind side more?
Because you can't spread across the whole field. So if you're trying to get an overlap with line speed, they're going to have, they put 13 in the front line. We've only got 14 players. We're losing 2, 3 to a breakdown every time. They don't even have to commit. So they're coming off the line and, it's just a game of attrition there. Whereas one extra player holding the width, like that makes their whole D fan out. So when you it's like obviously you don't just do that, but most teams will start favouring, favouring or playing one half of the field and then sticking around the middle, then swinging sort of the backs together. Again, it depends who you lose, but it can really change how you D as well.
Oh,
you lose
time.
an outside back, 15's got a lot of running to do. You go more to a pendulum. You can't have two two fullbacks in the backfield. Then it opens up kicking space. So we do talk about all the different scenarios. You lose a hooker. What do you do there? Like,
it makes what the All Blacks achieved last World Cup pretty amazing. They still could have won that game. They were in positions to win that game, and they had down to 14 men without Sam Cane for a long period of time. Yeah. But knowing that's 20 minutes helps your survival, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's how you manage that 20 minutes, how you survive or how you influence the game in that 20 minutes. Because if you're the opposition, you go, we've got 20 minutes to just go at them hard.
100%.
Try and pile points on them, put them under pressure.
Yeah.
And whereas when you're the other side, down to 14, you're like, boys, we've got to survive this. If we can take points, let's take them. Let's play right areas.
Tick that scoreboard over. Your forwards are going to get hit physically. Your backs are going to be running a lot more to cover all the backfield spaces and to be able to swing and still create opportunities. But if you can tick the scoreboard over, like it's a huge mental win as well. Like if you got a card, then you bring a player back on the field and you've actually held them out and possibly even kicked 3 points. Like you're going to cop it at the end of the game, sort of like the last 10 minutes fatigue-wise.
Yep.
but like a mental win, like it's huge.
Here, World Rugby then. Hey, they listened to G Brands. We got the job done. We got it done.
Well done, Marshy. Well done. Big well done to Richie Mo'unga. Before we get on to Super Rugby, he's won his 9th title in a row, second year in a row in Japan. With Toshiba, he's won the League One title. Broken hand, man of the match performance, scored a try, set up an amazing try. Back next year in Super Rugby, end of midway through 2026.
I think so. Like, I think he'll be back to compete in the World Cup.
What makes Richie Mo'unga so bloody successful in club rugby?
I haven't played with him, but like when you do analysis on him, like he's just got such good foot speed. Like he backs himself, he can get out of trouble using his feet. He's really quick, he's got great skill set with his kick and pass, and I think he's just a competitor as well. Like he's always just competing. Like what hasn't the guy won? And I know, like, again, the guys are like, I'm playing with the Crusaders, like they love playing with him. They said like he's quite positive and he's always like, he'll push that skill, execution, and games on the line. You know, you want someone to step up, and I think quite often he's that guy who's, you know, pushing to create.
Still obviously playing good rugby, you know, going into the game under an injury cloud. Scored a try assist as well. So he's influenced the game massively. It's quite, I guess, ironic that you're here on the couch and we're talking about this, because you're in a similar situation to what he will be and when he comes back, because you're coming, you know, from the outside into a new environment. It's the same environment for him, but yes, he's been in Japan for a certain amount of years. Others are ticking away doing their thing. And then you've got to sort of slot back into hopefully where you were before you left.
Yeah.
And then you've come here with a goal. Like your goal was quite clear, and you made everyone aware. I'm sure he'll do the same. What's that feel like to have to? That's because it's kind of putting pressure on yourself as well, isn't it?
100%. You're putting it out there. Like I think the difference with him is he's performing pretty consistently and at the highest level. Like I've sort of been on and off a little bit through injuries and through performance. So like when I put out there, like I want to be involved like in a winning super team, and I also like I want to be involved in the Wallabies and the Lions. Like that's me putting myself out there, and there's a lot of people like, I don't know about that. Like where are you actually at? Yeah. So I know what I can do. I've just sort of got to work, and I've pretty much underplayed quite a bit, and I've taken some decent opportunities, and obviously I'm playing with a great group. Yeah. But yeah, like it is, you are like, it's not comfortable putting yourself out there onto that stage to be almost analysed and pulled apart and saying like, this is what I want, so I got to perform, and everyone's sort of watching me like closely. But at the end of the day, like you just got to do what you got to do. So, and it makes it, especially for me as well, it makes you double down. Like there's no shortcuts. You're going to work every day. You're doing the basics. You know, you're kicking every day. You got to have your fundamentals really sort of well tuned to be able to, I guess, continuously perform.
You know what resonates with me is what you first said when you came on this world class podcast. You said that you found that coming and being involved with the Crusaders in particular, but in New Zealand rugby, was the speed. The speed of ruck, the speed of how everything's been done. You know, will he suffer a bit from that because it's nowhere near that quick in Japan, or can a 10 just readjust real easy, real quickly?
Well, it took I think I'd never played at that sort of speed before. I think just the games are quite different, like the way Australians see the game to how Kiwis see the game. Like I think in New Zealand they're sort of more happy to play just the pictures that are in front every phase, whereas in Australia we can use plays to sort of, it's not rugby league, but it's sort of like we can manipulate through like a 2-phase focus to get an outcome on the 3rd phase. Still, you want to be able to play and be in the moment each time. But for me, coming in, especially training, like games aren't 1 second rucks, but we were training sort of 1 second rucks. So normally if I'm faking to go this side because I've set something up over here, you know, normally I've got 3 seconds, but I was having 1 second, like, geez, there's not as much sort of faking.
You got Will Jordan go, get the fuck out of my way. This is my spot.
Mate, I'm like, I've set this play up, and he just takes it. No. So that was like just the subtlety of like how I see the game and how I move. I had to change. But then, you know, you start doing contact and the game, you know, rugby sort of comes. And even as the season gets later and later, especially Super Rugby, the wet season sort of comes in, finals footy, it tightens up a little bit. It's more about that trench warfare than just like the beautiful game of rugby. It comes back to sort of more of a balanced sort of approach. But again, like speaking on Richie, like he's done it here, for 6 to 8 years, so I don't think it's going to take him long. Plus, he's a bit quicker than me. Just a touch, maybe.
Nah.
This podcast is brought to you in partnership with Saily. If you've ever been stuck abroad trying to watch the rugby but can't manage to get a stable Wi-Fi connection, thankfully, Saily has got you covered. Created by the people at NordVPN, Saily is a travel app that offers eSIMs that allow you to purchase affordable data plans in over 200 destinations around the world. And you'll also have access to secure internet connection all throughout your travels, so you don't have to worry about missing another game.
It's been good for me. Obviously, your little hookups sorted me out, so it's good on the wallet. But yeah, it's been cool because I can get some free data and sorting the boys out as well. Those bus trips over in Australia, definitely been hotspotting everyone for a bit of streaming.
Perfect. Yeah, well, being educated by you, Andy, on the Saily app has been very beneficial to me because I've just recently been travelling, went to LA, and being over there and the Super Rugby last round was on, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to see this? Because rugby's not that accessible.
Yeah.
Had my Saily app, bought the data, was able to watch the highlights, not the full games, but just knowing that you can get that data, it's affordable and it works, was genius. So really happy with the Saily app. Encourage anybody out there, particularly when you're travelling, with the access it's got in the countries it can utilise, get on it big time.
And the great thing is that the data can be up to 10 times cheaper than roaming fees. All you have to do is download Saily in the App Store or scan the QR code on screen now. Use the code GBRANDS at the checkout to get 15% off your first purchase. And we've also added all the details into the podcast episode description box below.
So you haven't actually been hooking me up. It's already 15% off. Been charging
Sorry.
me full rate.
I just wanted you to like me. Rabs, let's talk about the weekend. Mate, you came on and I have started watching you a bit closer now that we're best friends and seen that like you're actually going out there and you're banging blokes. Your physical play when you come on the field. Like I didn't realise that was part of your thing, but you like how were the shoulders?
Shoulders are definitely sore after the game. I think like again I've got a low sense of gravity. I'm quite stocky. Like I've got the ability to do it. It's just a choice. Especially like I think when you come on at 12 or at centre, like there's 20 minutes to go. Like at 10, sort of you're managing the game. You're sort of it's more of a logical sort of a feeling. At 12 or 13 or when you come on there, it's like I've got to spark something. It's not about sort of the creation. It's about me injecting some energy into the game. So
you're like, where's Lee Nikitawa? Where is he? Where's Bobby V? Let me have him.
To be honest, when you see them coming at you the first one, you're like, probably not ideal. But look, yeah, it's just intent, like physics, eh? But look, I think as well, like if I go out there and I do that as a sort of centre and a smaller bloke, then your pack as well see that and the other backs, and sort of you're just adding a little bit of energy to the guys.
You're doing well though, Rabs, honestly, to be able to adjust because, as it's clearly obvious, I've been watching you and the Crusaders, the way that they defend, quite often as a 10, you'll drop back.
Yeah.
So you're not defending in the front line.
Yeah.
But when you come in that 12 jersey, you had to do against the Brumbies at the weekend, you don't drop back. So you're basically leading the defensive system, from that jersey. So for you to do that means that you can easily just switch from one role to another. Like when I say easily, you can.
It's definitely a
You've been there, you've done that, you've played those positions before, but you've had to mind shift yourself to go, I'm not the guy dropping back and covering if they make a line break or make a kick or whatever.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting up, making sure that there's no holes in the defensive system. I'm knocking big ball runners over. So
It's
I
like
can understand why your shoulders are a bit sore, mate.
It's like watching two different players, man. Because like you've got this 10/15 guy that comes off the bench, and then that's directing play, and then you've got this guy that's coming on and absolutely obliterating blokes in the midfield and throwing his shoulders around, which adds so much value to you as a player, like versatility wise, because It is like watching two different guys come out and play, depending on what position you're
I
going
don't
to
know
be
if
playing.
I obliterate. I think I just held my own in a couple of contacts, but I'll take it, bro. Appreciate it. But yeah, it is. Like, man, it's a completely different mindset. Like when you're at 10 or 15, you're the creation element. Like I'm still ball playing at 12. Like I played sort of 5-6 years at 12. So I sort of know the game well, but it is a very different, shift of, foot speed to manipulation, shoulders, double pumps to go forward. Like literally when you're carrying, you're creating space through your intent at the line, and then also your carries getting more one-on-ones. I think there was a time I was on the wing, found myself out there and not getting bundled into touch, is still my best.
What happened there? Because you got.
Yeah, I was
smoked
taking a
little bit,
breather
yeah.
on the edge there from 4 collisions in a row. And then one of the boys made a little line break and flicked the ball off to me. And I thought I had a one-on-one with Tom Wright. And so, there wasn't much space. I was just literally like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to, step him here. I'm just literally try to get an inside line and get my arm free or just get over the gain line so we can play on top. And as I stepped him, I just got cleaned up from the inside.
Well, we'll talk about the game that's coming up against the Reds, the qualifying match against the Reds in Christchurch this weekend shortly. But we caught up with JP earlier and to have his thoughts on the Brumbies loss at home. And this is what he had to say.
This will be good.
JP, mate, so good to see you. So good to see you. Last time I saw you, I left you, and I apologise. I left you with Marshy. I mean, how did that chat end up?
It was, look, what a great day. Let the kid out of, I was off a leash. And it was so good to hang out with my man, Justin Marshall. I think I might have got a little bit too excited, but being out away from the kids. But, what a great day. What a great episode with our good mate Ali. We could have spoken to him for hours and hours. Same with Foxy as well. God, we're getting some great legends come on and just be themselves. It's just, it's incredible.
Yeah, JP, it was a great after-match after our podcast in Auckland. I really enjoyed your company, and yes, you're absolutely right. It was like you had been unleashed by the babysitter, and we had some fun. I'm talking about having some fun, buddy. Obviously, at the weekend, that great rivalry continued. The Crusaders and the Brumbies delivered us another classic encounter, but like those competitive matches between these two clubs seem to dish up, doesn't tend to not have a little bit of controversy about it as well. Your thoughts on the controversy and the game itself, mate?
Oh, look, it's another one the Brumbies let slip. That's the third one at home. And for a side that ended up coming third, they would really look at those 3 losses at home. You had the Force, the Hurricanes, and then obviously the Crusaders. So, you're looking at up to 9 points where they missed out. So would have actually put them, I think, on top of the table. So when you look at historically, first, second, mainly first, it's the best ride, right, to give you every chance to win Super Rugby. So, yeah, look, another great encounter, though, the encounter itself. A lot of controversy regarding the knock-on from Sevu Reece. Look, I literally only said on the Friday, midday, on my radio show, I said, look, I think the refereeing this year and the lack of TMO input, I think it's been the best we've seen. It's been the referee is only seen and not heard of. It makes the contest itself incredible. And I think that's what we've seen, a massive step forward this year with respect to the adjudication of games. We've seen referees, and look, that's Sevu Reece, take that one. That's because we're not getting TMOs coming in and going, oh, there's a knock-on back here, or we're getting, the touch judges. They've also been sort of put into their box as well. And I just think you've got to let some go, and you've got to then pull some up, obviously, if it's part of that try. But I think the 50-50 call, Stephen Larkham after the game was excellent, and how he looked at that. He said, look, I think he missed a couple for us in the first and second half as well. So, look, I think if we want free-flowing rugby and we don't want it to be stopped every single time, then you're going to have a couple of knock-ons. But, look, I don't think that that really indicated where the Brumbies season was, and that loss and that one knock on. I think, they just would really, really be angry at themselves for letting that force Hurricanes game as well. Like, you've got to shore up all your home games. So it's kind of put them in a really tough spot. Like, no matter what, they're going to be travelling now, right? Like, with respects to the semi-finals, if they get over the Hurricanes this weekend.
Oh, JP, buddy. The stars have aligned. That night out in Auckland has buddied us up like nothing else because, like, I agree with you. I concur on everything that you just said. And regardless of the result, I'm not thinking about the result because what we're talking about is the issue. And the issue is around the Severu knock-on prior to then the penalty and the Crusaders getting a line out, driving more try. And this is right in my wheelhouse at the moment because what has really annoyed me about the game, particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, even since the last Rugby World Cup, is the intervention of TMOs for those little things in the game that happen all the time and the players just get on with it. But when they go back 5, 6 phases to a knock-on or a player slightly offside or whatever and disrupt the game, it actually hampers our game. It makes the spectacle a lot worse. Back in the day, and I can see it now, current players, administrators, whatever, rolling their eyes going, oh, here's another old player talking about back in the day. Yes. But this is back in the day when shit like that happened, you just got on with it. You just accepted it. And then you carried on playing the game for what it was in front of you. You might have thought that you saw a knock on, you'll have a scream at the ref, George Gregan style, knock on, mate. And if the referee hasn't seen it,
get out of it.
That's right. The game would just continue, and the players then know that that's not going to affect the game for them in the future. They've got to get on with the now, and so the fact that people are blowing up in Australia a bit about it is a bit disappointing because it's not promoting the game in the right manner. Like at the end of the day, that knock on didn't affect what happened 4 or 5 minutes later. Yes, people could say, "Oh yeah, but they wouldn't have been in that position." But many times in the game, you can have breakdowns, rucks, interference, things that referees don't see that we could continually go back on and say, oh, it's not fair because this happened or that happened. So the fact that the TMO didn't come in and it wasn't ruled, whether it was for the Brumbies or the Crusaders, whether it's the Blues, whether it's the Chiefs, I don't give a shit. I'm just glad that the TMOs are now only coming in for acts of foul play or in the motion of scoring a try. That's where we've got to be.
JP, you guys have got the Hurricanes this weekend now. The Brumbies Hurricanes in Canberra, who seem like they're coming right at the right end of the tournament.
Yeah, they look good, don't they? And they've also got a result this year at GIO Stadium in Canberra. So that's, that gives them a lot of confidence, as well as the Blues. Like, look, what about the Blues slipping in there for the 6th spot? Everyone said, well, that's what they say, right? Like, I remember Joe Roth back in the early days, like back in January, he'd come back after putting about 3 to 5 kilos on in the off season over Christmas. And he'd always go, listen, boys, the Melbourne Cup's not won in January, right? Like, so it was always sort of something about peaking at the right time of the year. Like, and I think the Crusaders they were the best at it. Like, not necessarily great starters to the competition, but, just to always time their run. And I think for the Brumbies, the bye probably couldn't have come at a better time. They did have the Crusaders off the bye, but look, there was a few things there I thought they can work on. I don't think they really need to change much with respects to how they're playing. It's just a little bit better discipline, as well as a few decision-making options as well. But Noah Lolesio looked really good coming back from injury. Len Ikitau again, wow. And look, I love the way the forwards, that Tom Hooper, my goodness, like he's gone from number 8 back to second rower, like the versatility. But I think missing Alan Alatoa on the weekend was probably a big thing. So I think hopefully he'll be back against the Canes. But yeah, the Canes, my goodness, didn't they look fantastic again? Look against Moana Pacifica, who was probably a couple of blowouts, right? They were never going to probably put too much pressure on the Hurricanes. And the Hurricanes just really centered in on themselves. Everything about finals footy is about yourself. Like, it's really not against who you're playing because you're playing the creme de la creme, right? The top of the top. So really it's about doing your own job and making sure that as a side, you individually take care of your responsibility, and then collectively, as a side, then you do all the team stuff. So, it's a tough one to come out of, man, like to play the Canes, because they're looking super hot at the moment. But I've got to tip the Brumbies at home. I just have to tip the Brumbies. I think that hit out against the Crusaders, be a nice cold night on Saturday. Like, she's pretty cool down there at the moment in Canberra.
Well, JP, you might have qualified third, but the good news is you can still host a semi-final and a final with this format. So if the Crusaders lose, that's who you've got to hope for. So the Brumbies fans have got to be cheering for the Reds. If the Brumbies win and the Reds win, then the Brumbies will host the semi-final. They will be, at that point, the second seed in the competition. So then if the Brumbies win their semi-final and the Chiefs lose their semi-final, they could host the final.
Wow. Then it's like pack your suitcase, your thongs, your jandals, your Hawaiian shirt for the nightclubs and rock into Canberra.
JP, we'll let you go. I'm sure you've got some press-ups or pull-ups to do in that jail cell of yours, mate. We'll send you the bond, don't worry, and we'll be back on next week with you.
Ace boys, up the Brumbies.
So that was JP talking about, he's obviously picking the Brumbies to go all the way. You guys got the Reds this weekend.
Yeah.
And the other
few familiar faces.
Plenty of familiar faces. Well, yeah, I think even like this whole top six, like it's pretty close. Obviously, the Chiefs are doing what they're doing, and it's been good to watch. Like playing the Brumbies, they were very good. They could easily have won that game. Then again, Hurricanes are finding some great form too. Like some of the shapes they're getting into now, I feel like their attack's really starting to click. Like the Reds have been consistent all year. They've got some big sort of game players. Possibly picked up a couple injuries on the weekend, which is good for us. So we'll see anyway when the team gets announced. But look, it's definitely going to be a battle because they play positive footy.
It's finals time, right? And if there's any team that loves finals the most, it's the Crusaders. What is it, lads, about the Crusaders and finals that just makes you just assume that they're going to go to the end?
You can answer this one. I haven't been involved yet.
Well, you are involved now.
Yeah.
But and I'm sure it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on how the week started, because I know how they used to start for us. But I think being foundation, like we had to suffer a bit for the first couple of years. And then when we, found a way to win against adversity for our first 3 titles, we're always underdogs, we're always written off. But what that grew is this culture of you can find your way into the playoffs any way you want, but once you get there, it's what you do. And a lot of teams are satisfied just to be there. And I think having to fight for what we had to fight early on, not being the most glamorous team around, it grew this culture of we with common denominator culture, grit, effort, never say die attitude, we'll always find a way because the opposition won't want it as much.
Yeah.
And it's that I know it sounds like, well, any team that's in a final will want to win it. Absolutely they will.
Yeah.
But for some reason or another, there's this historic I guess energy and belief within the Crusaders that's been developed from where it started. And then once that grows, it's just this ability of the players recognising that once they're there, that's what Crusaders do. Crusaders get into this environment, and this is when we roll our sleeves up and get stuck in.
Well, you almost feel like I'm only one day into it, first day, but you feel like a line in the sand, the season's starting now. It's like do or die. And like I've been guilty of it as well. Like I've been in final series where, not that I've been just stoked to make the finals, but I've been like, this season's a win now, or it's like that's positive. We've lived up to what we can do, and now anything can happen in the finals. But like we've got to a place where like I'm content that we've put in the work, etc. Of course, you want to win, and you're going to double down. And again, like the shoulders you come even harder, and it's that even more trench warfare. It's a game of like who wants it more. but you can definitely feel like this week where we're building like like this sort of the Monday session, strategies honed in, like the detail like boys were on, like in terms of like not. There's a lot less, like we play quite a bit, and while we're sort of getting the detail of the starter moves, etc. But today you could feel like this calmness of like, we get to work here. It's just a bit more serious in a way.
And great teams have that, and those types of teams only create that by what they've done historically, and you can't replicate it until you've created that history, and it's not just in rugby, it's in any sport. The Melbourne Storm gets into the finals, you're like, oh shit, it's the Melbourne Storm.
They find a way.
Yeah, like the Golden State Warriors, when they were on fire, it's just like if you get them, you're like, oh shit, and the Crusaders have been able to do that through their success. It's like everybody last year was saying, they don't deserve to be there, which I would agree with that, and that's hard for me to say. I'll always think the Crusaders deserve to be in the finals, because once they're there, then everybody else is on edge. But they didn't do enough and they missed out. But everyone was shit scared that if they got into the finals that they could win it.
Yeah.
And their form didn't justify that, didn't show it at all.
Yeah.
But everybody else just knows when they run out for a semi-quarterfinal or a final, it's the Crusaders.
Yeah.
And they know how to get the job done. And that would make teams that were even 2 to 3 times better than them, more confident and had great seasons, real nervous.
Yeah.
It creates anxiety just through success and history.
Yeah.
You shitting yourself or what?
Well, to be honest, like I'm just excited. Like I'm playing a very sort of different role in the group. I'm getting the pleasure of sort of sitting on the bench and sort of watching the game and being a part of it. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Are you feeling that expectation though? Because like Marshy's
well, that's the thing. Like
just
it
told you, like there's a weight. The weight of history is upon you. On those shoulders took a hammering last week. This week,
they'll be getting. They'll be hanging off by the end of the season, but I'll have time to get them right.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It's excitement rather than like nerves. It's almost like I know that the boys are going to go to war, and like rugby's like anything can happen on the day. But I think there's just a lot of belief in the group that we'll go to battle with each other. And again, rugby's chaos, so you can't control every moment. But if you're willing to put sort of the work in, like you're already 90% of the way, and then you see what sort of happens on the day. But I just know this group sort of will turn up. It's a little bit like the Blues making the finals this year.
Yeah,
like they can do some damage when they're on their day. Like they're a big team. They got skill. It's like they've snuck into the top sort of 6, they're going to be tough.
Yeah.
Again,
you're right. And that's history. Like I'm talking across the board and people go, right, do I really get it? Are you being really Crusaders biased? No, because the finals, over 50% of wins in finals, like unbelievable. The amount of times that this team has tasted success actually in finals as well, and the titles then reinforce that. It's like you go through a Grand Slam tennis match and Roger Federer's been struggling the whole bloody tournament, but then you're walking out and it's like, shit, it's Federer.
Yeah,
it's like Tiger's had a shit bloody 3 rounds, but he's in the top 5 on last day of the Masters, and it's Tiger.
Yeah,
like in sport, like environments are created for special, unique teams or people. And that when they're there because of their success, they will front. So you just got to be better. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
To be better than those guys that are going to front because they're going to be good.
Well, there's certain teams that you talk about, like to beat them, you have to play your best game.
Yeah.
Almost because they're just going to be consistent and turn up. And yeah, I'm excited to see like what this final series has because like I've been involved in I think 6-7 finals now, like final series, and even over in the UK and in France, and so it'll be cool to be able to feel the difference of what this group's like compared to some of the other groups leading into it.
The interesting thing for me is because I'm going to get our host here to give us an educated, basically rundown on what the final series looks like because he's been practicing all afternoon. Because this is unique. I've not really sort of seen this before,
how the setup is.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But Andy, can you please let us know exactly how this final series and top 6 is going to work.
I'll try and keep this as concise as possible. So you got the top 6. 1 plays 6, 2 plays 5, 3 plays 4. Then the 3 winners out of those 3 matches go through to the semi-finals.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes the person that comes in, that 4th team, to fill the gap, is the highest placed loser from those 3 games. And if you lose, you drop a seed.
Yeah, you see it as well.
So if the Chiefs lose, they still make the semis and they'll still host the semis, but they will be as the 2nd place.
Yeah.
And the Crusaders, if they had won, they'll be the top qualifier.
Yeah.
So if they win their semi, so if you guys win your semi and the Chiefs lose but win their semi, the Crusaders will host the final.
Yeah.
Likewise, if the Brumbies win and the Crusaders lose, the Brumbies will then become the 2nd seeded, highest qualifier, and they
Get
could
the home semi.
they will get a home semi, and then if, let's say, the Chiefs lose their semi-final and get knocked out, the Brumbies will then host the final. So there's the only people that there's no chance of having a life are 5 and 6. So that's the Reds and the Blues. If they lose, they're out. They are out.
Everybody else gets another week.
Potentially. So the Crusaders, they'll be knocked
Unless,
out
like,
if the Crusaders and the Chiefs lose.
Yeah.
So it's only taking the highest ranked loser into the 2nd round.
You can control your destiny.
Yeah, you control it a fair bit more.
Especially being Friday night. So you can go out, if you win, you know that then the pressure is on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because you know if they don't perform and win, yes, they're still there, so you still got to get through them somehow.
Yeah.
But you are now controlling the ability to host a home final.
Yeah.
That's
semi,
and it's
final.
cool because you've got other teams that also invested in the other finals. So the Brumbies are sitting there going, "Come on, the Reds! Come on, the Reds! Smash the Crusaders, and then we can have a home semi."
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's such a cool format. I love it.
I do too.
I love
think
it.
It's good.
But the Chiefs Blues game, you would assume 2 or 3 weeks ago, you're assuming who is touching the Chiefs, and they haven't dropped in form, but the only thing that has changed is the Blues they went wallop over the last week. They've come in, they're fresh. They had the bye before that, I think. They've got their big guns are now firing. Rico Ioane scoring a hat trick on the weekend. It's not a foregone conclusion like you would have thought it might have been 3 weeks ago.
No, I agree with that. I would be very careful here because there's a possibility that I could be accused of blues bashing, but I'm not. I'm trying to put this in perspective. Look, they had the hardest start to the season. Like, honestly, they basically got all the New Zealand teams. They had a tough start and they suffered because of that, and it got them behind in this competition, which is never easy when the teams are so close. And then you got teams like Moana Pacifica going really well, other teams finding their mojo, Hurricanes, and then you get the draw away, and it's like, oh shit, So they all those dynamics come into it. But the last month, I don't think they've had it super tough. They've still had adversity. Adversities is what it is, and it'll create challenges. But their challenge has been survival to make the 6. So they've just had to find a way to win. They've had some good results recently, but I don't know if they're as battle-hardened as some of the other teams who have had some bigger challenges to get over.
Ooh,
so what I'm saying is, are there results, and is there actual way that they are playing and the form that they're in as legit as what it looks? That's the only thing I will say. In saying that, I'll get myself slightly off the hook because, and you'll know this, when they played the Crusaders, they played well. So
Did you play in that game?
They are very, 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 very capable. But I just don't know, because you said that they're looking great and they're playing different. I don't know they're playing that different, but they're playing with a bit more confidence because they've obviously got themselves in the right mindset of knowing what they had to do to make the 6. And they've probably been able to create that with not having as tougher problems as what they had in at the start of the comp.
Yeah.
It's a frickin' banana skin for the Chiefs, though, because Like,
Well, man,
because they've scraped in, man.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been in the 6
Yeah.
after their performances, and now they're there. Chiefs are the favourites, raging hot favourites to win the comp. Go down to Hamilton, their home ground. The pressure's all on them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, that's what I mean. They got big game players too, all throughout that Blues team, like internationals and guys who can step up. You never know, like weather can can be changed. You saw what happened in that final, last year.
Yeah.
Again, I think anyone in that top 6, like teams are sort of peaking. Any team in that top 6 can go the whole way. Like obviously, there's guys who are favourites and whatnot, but on their day, like all these teams are capable of we've played all these teams now, and everyone has sort of gone down to that last 20 minutes in all the battles. And some of them we've won and possibly we shouldn't have, but we found a way, and others sort of we lost and opened up. So like knowing, after playing each of the teams sort of twice, apart from that, the Reds outfit and the Brumbies, like quality outfits, and on their day can do some genuine damage.
Let's talk about the before we wrap things up, the World Club Cup, because that's been announced, and there's been a lot of Leinster chat from the Northern Hemisphere. It's pretty exciting though. Like, was it 2028? They're going to have this World Club Cup. But pretty exciting. Like, what are your thoughts on it initially, Marshy, when you heard the announcement? Is it something that excites you, or do you think it's a gimmick?
I love it.
Yeah.
As a player, I wish I was able to as a Crusader, which was my club, have my team go and take on the best of the rest of the world could offer. That's one of the ultimate challenges in the game. If you're not playing international rugby, you're lucky enough to play it, but you play for your club and you go out there and go, righto, rest of the world, bring it on. Let's go and see who is the very best. I love the banter already, like you said, Leinster. Nobody can beat Leinster.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really?
It's
done it a few
it's
times
wild
now.
though. It's wild how much they rate Leinster over. Like, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong.
They're a great team.
But even when,
Mate, they just got freaking beaten by Northampton.
and the semi,
though,
they never make the final. They
Yeah.
never make the final. So why are we even talking about Leinster?
Well, because they are a successful side.
Yeah.
So that there again
And
comes
they've been
into this.
constantly consistent. Yeah.
There you go. They've got history behind them. They know how to win finals. Yes, they just lost a semi,
Old
but all great
Heinekens
teams do. They won Heineken Cups. They've won championships. They're stacked full of internationals. They're a great side, but so are many of the sides in Europe and France and the UK, and like teams like Glasgow are a handful. Wouldn't like to be playing them. In a
100%.
quarterfinal somewhere in.
But like to see where's it going to be
Imagine.
played.
That's a great question.
The key, like if it's played like summer or dry footy in Australia or New Zealand, like man, that'd be incredible.
But if it's this
we're
time of
playing-
year, after Super Rugby final, you play it at Twickenham.
Yeah, you play that
after
summer. Yeah.
summer.
Well, yeah, but you can't. That's advantageous massively for the Northern Hemisphere because the Southern Hemisphere teams would have to travel. So
Someone's
and
gonna-
it's their own environment. But
Yeah.
but I love the fact because it's going to be regular
Vegas.
that any rugby
Well, it's
get
hot
played?
there all the time. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Would be they do it like Super Bowl,
Yeah.
neutral venue.
Yeah. Okay.
So it doesn't mean
So
whoever
you both
qualifies
having to
first or
travel
second doesn't matter. It's
Dubai
just like the
or something,
final is
yeah.
set here,
Yeah.
and then all the fans have to travel. Like.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and so one year that finals in a stadium in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
The next competition, it's a stadium. It could be Ellis Park.
Yeah.
And it's the Crusaders playing Leinster at
Leinster,
Ellis
yeah,
Park.
yeah.
I'm sure you'd still
Why
get
are you
80,000
saying
people
Leinster?
there.
Yeah. 100%. You would.
Might be
I didn't mean to say
Crusaders
Leinster.
Chiefs.
It's just because you put that in my brain. Let's say Stade Francais then, or Bordeaux. Or Northampton, like Harlequins.
I'm going to say it, the Chiefs would wipe the floor of all the Northern Hemisphere teams at the moment. Wipe the floor of
that's a
them.
big call.
Wouldn't
I
be
can't wait.
Would not be close.
I can't wait for social media to come
It
out now
wouldn't
that
be
you've
close.
said that.
That's big comment.
That's a massive comment. Andy Rowe has said that the Chiefs would wipe out everyone else in the world at the moment in the club championship if it was played tomorrow.
All our
That's
endorsement
what you've
deals are gone
basically
now.
said.
I find it like if I look at the Super
I don't
Rugby
get
top
free
6,
data anymore. Cheers, bro.
Super Rugby top 6 would make up the top 8 teams in the world at the moment.
A second big
I
statement.
know. Like I've played in all these competitions. I'm like,
So have I.
they're top, man. They're completely different footy from the Premiership to the top 14 to Super. Like such different styles. It's going to be so important, sort of where they're played, the timing of the season, and then just how the styles, test against each other. Because it's more international sort of style footy over in the Northern Hemisphere. One, because it's sort of the weather, but two, even just the build of the guys and sort of what they focus on, how they build pressure and territory. So I think it'll be cool. Like, man, it'll be unreal.
Oh, mate, you got teams like
2028.
Rabs, best of luck. Best of luck this weekend,
Thanks.
mate. Friday night against the Reds, against your pals.
Go Rabs.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah,
Should be a good
appreciate
game.
it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a game, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you very much for listening or watching. We will be back again next week.